everybody, welcome to Bones Collector. Today on Bones Collector we're continuing our series where Lori and I are playing our way through our board gaming library. So we're going to play a couple of games, 2 or 3 games each week, and make a video about it and pass it on to you, and I hope you enjoy them. Welcome to Bones Collector, and today Lori and I just got done playing Anno 1800. So Anno 1800 is by Martin Wallace. It's a 2020 title. It is for 2 to 4 players. The art is by Fiore GmbH, and I have no idea what that is, if it's a company or if it's a guy or a gal. I have no idea. But the art is wonderful in this game. And it's a hand management, end game bonuses, racing game with a lot of engine building. And that's what you're doing in this game, is building an engine. And the most influence points in this game wins after you've triggered the end of the game, and I'll tell you how to do that in a second. But this is by Cosmos, and it comes in a decent enough box. And that's what the bottom of the very plain looking bottom of the box. The token stock is thick enough, it's good. The tokens are thick enough. This board is thick, it lays flat, thank you. And your player boards are thick enough and they lay flat. That's what they look like. And it's got a picture of a ship on the other side. And this has a nice picture on the back of it. There's a player aid for them that come with the game, and they're very handy. And it tells you all the actions that you can take, how to manage your resources, and then it has a picture of all the tiles on the back of this player aid, which is very nice. It does help you play the game. The rule book is very clear, and we read the rule book and learned how to play the game. So it's not that complex if I can do that. I've done it before, but yeah, it's pretty nice to be able to read the rule book and know how to play the game. The rule book has got examples in it as you go through and read. The examples are in these yellow boxes, so that's really nice. The font is large enough that I don't have to get out a magnifying glass or anything. And at the back of the rule book, it has a place where you can go to download the scoring sheet, which we did, and Lori laminated it. And that's what it looks like once you print it out and laminate it and use a dry erase, and you can keep score. And it does help you with adding up your score at the end of the game. So that's the rule book. These old world and new world tiles are very thick. They're very nice. And the card stock is very nice. You do hold them in your hand, but it's good card stock, not linen, but it's still good card stock. And the art in the game is absolutely fabulous. I love it. Kind of just gives you that old world feel, and that's what you're doing, is building up industry on this island, right? So, yeah, you're building up your industrial island, and you're doing that by acquiring these constructing all these buildings and putting them on your board, which gives you more and more and more as you go. And that's what an engine builder is. You're just building up an engine that's going to give you more as you go on through the game and hopefully get to your end game goal. The end game trigger in this game is to get rid of all the cards in your hand. The first person that does that triggers the end of the game and gets this fireworks token worth 7 points. So that's kind of nice, because this is going to be a close game when you're scoring. So you want to get points wherever you possibly can. You have end game objective cards that will be common to everyone, and you'll see them. There's 5 of them usually. I don't know what happened to the other one, but there was 5 of them. Oh, here we're good right here. So there's 5 of those that you're going to be dealing with. And then you can also get these expedition cards during the game, and they score at the end of the game also. And that's the only thing they do, is score at the end of the game. It has to do with what workers you have acquired during the course of the game. And at the start of the game, we're going to start out with a hand of cards. What did we get, 5?
I think
7?
7 of the first group and 2 of the second group.
And at the top of those cards are going to have resource requirements. You have to complete those in order to play that card in front of you. Once you play that card in front of you, you can activate it right then or in a later turn. So you don't have to activate it right away. You can save them up if you need to, or if you want to. So that's kind of nice too. And then as you go on, you start out your player board, and you only have, what the heck, got one right here. This is what your player board looks like when you start. And as you can see, I had to add on with these old world tiles because I was building some construction buildings, and putting those on my player board. Those are the old world buildings, these big ones that allow you to construct more buildings. And then you have some new world buildings that allow you to get some special resources that only you can get. And that's pretty cool when you do those also. And also, you start out with a certain number of workers in your workforce, and every time you want to increase that workforce, you're going to have to draw population cards and put them in your hand. And that's what you're trying not to do, because the game's going to go on and go on for you if you have a bunch of these cards in your hand. The players will decide when the end game is going to happen. If you get down to one card and you feel like, oh, put this down. When you, I don't know why I'm hanging on to it. When you get down to the end and you only have 1 or 2 cards left and you're watching your opponent, and if you think you're in the lead, then you want to get rid of those cards. But if you think you need more time, you might not want to get rid of them. So you hang on to them, maybe get some more cards that might score you some more points, build some more buildings or whatever. But you're going to have that feeling about when you want the game to end. You're going to have a feel for where you stand as far as points and what you've done in the game. Martin Wallace is a great board game designer. Of course, he's Brass Birmingham, Brass Lancashire. Brass Birmingham is #1 on Board Game Geek, #1 game in the world if you go by Board Game Geek, which sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Most of the time I don't. I don't like the system that they use, but that is a very good game, Brass Birmingham. It's just a little long for Lori and I, so we don't have that in our library. I do, however, have some other Martin Wallace games that are a little less complex and play a little quicker. This is one of them. The other 2 that I have is Tinner's Trail, which we love, and Via Nebula, which we love. And I really enjoy both those games. Hey, I tell you what, Via Nebula would be so insanely popular if it had a different graphic design. It's just the art on the cover of that box is not the best, and even in the game. But man, that's a great game, Via Nebula. But I did not like London by Martin Wallace. I didn't like that game at all. And again, Brass Lancashire and Birmingham, just too long for our taste. But anyway, back to Anno 1800. This was a video game series, I understand, and I've never played the video game whatsoever. I wouldn't know what to tell you about it, how to compare it or whatever. It doesn't really matter. I like this game just as it stands on its own, and we're going to keep it in the library. I really had a good time playing this game, and there's so many ways to affect the things that you're doing as you build that engine. And not only are you building an engine to help get yourself resources, but there are different ways you can get resources. You can trade. If maybe your opponent has something you want. They've built a building like this Victrola, and maybe you need a Victrola to complete something in the game, and you don't have it. Well, you can use a trade token off your player board and trade for something that they have. And you can do that as many times as you want. You can only do each resource one time. So, I mean, it's a straight engine builder. Everything that you're doing, I mean, we sat it up and read the rule book for about 15 minutes and said, okay, I see how this game works. And you just start swapping stuff out and getting better and better and stronger and stronger. But some of the rules I want to make you aware of if you happen to pick this game up, because it's a good game. I'm highly recommending this game. I like it a lot. It looks kind of like a spreadsheet, and some people may not like that. But here's the thing for us. We like board games that are designed well, where the mechanics mesh together seamlessly in order to make a fun gaming experience. Martin Wallace knows what he's doing when he designs a board game, and that's why we enjoy this game so much. But I'm not going to tell you how to play the game. I just gave you that brief overview, but I want to tell you about some rules you may miss if you grab this game, which we did. I mean, Cool Stuff's blowout thing, didn't we? We got to see, yeah, this is part of our Cool Stuff.
Yeah, we bought it when it was still in stock. It's not now.
It's not in stock anymore, but man, we got it very cheap. Or you can play one of these cards in your hand per turn. You're going to have a hand of cards all the time in this game. And you can only play one of them once you satisfy that resource requirement. You can play one of them per turn. You can activate as many of them per turn as you want. If you have them played in front of you and you haven't used them yet, say you got 3 of them laid in front of you, you can do all 3 of those, activate them on your turn if you wish to do that, if you save them up. You can do multiple trades per turn. So, and I mentioned that before, you can trade goods that you don't have, get them from another player, and you can do as many of those as you like as long as it's not the same resource. So that's a rule that we missed.
We thought you could only do one trade, period.
So You want to make sure you remember to do that. And then remember to spend the correct number of trade tokens. Oh yeah, when you're doing your trades on your player board, this is the workers that you're going to have during the game. And on it, it has a cost in gold of how much you have to spend to bring one of your workers back during your turn, because there is an action called Celebrate a Festival.
There it is, yeah.
And when you do that, you're going to bring all your workers back to these residential districts at the top of your player board, and then you can start the next round fresh, your next turn, with everything reloaded. And that's sometimes what you have to do. It has a cost in gold if you don't want to do that at that particular turn, and you just need one worker. You can spend gold, and it tells you what gold you can spend right there to bring one of those workers back to his district. That way you can use him when you want to. And then also on the right-hand side, it has a cost of trade tokens. So that if you're trading with one of the other players and it requires a green worker, which is a farmer, I believe, it takes one trade token. If you want to use one of the artisans, if the trade token, like this coffee's got red on it, that takes an artisan to activate that resource, then you're going to have to spend 2 trade tokens. If it takes to one of these engineers, it's going to take 3 trade tokens. And you have to make sure that you spend the number of trade tokens depending on what resource you're trading with one of your opponents. But that's one of the rules that's easy to miss also. And another rule that's easy to miss is when you take one of these new world tiles, and it gives you some upper resources that you're going to need to get some of the harder things in this game, the ones that are going to be worth more points. On the back it has a picture of 3 cards, and at that particular time you're going to draw 3 of this new world cards off the top of this deck. And that you have to remember to do that when you get one of these new world tiles. And those are purchased with ships that you have on the bottom of your player board, and you're going to have ships down here that you're going to acquire and give you more naval tokens, they're called. And there's 2 types, trade tokens and exploration tokens. And exploration tokens will get you old world tiles or new world tiles. Trade tokens, of course, are what you're going to use to trade for resources from other players. And that's really some of the rules that you'll miss that I wanted you to make you aware of. And I like it too. It's really a fun game, and I love engine building anyway. It's a wonderful board game mechanism that we enjoy in many games, not just Wingspan, but there's some other games that we have that are engine builders. I'm drawing a blank for some reason. But I just love the engine building mechanism. It's a lot of fun, and it's fun in Anno 1800 by Martin Wallace. I really enjoy it. I want to tell you guys about it. We just acquired this, like I say, from the cool stuff going out of business sale or whatever they're having over there, and we got it very inexpensively. And if you get a chance to play this game, I would highly recommend it. It's just a lot of fun. Your mind is working hard, and just there's so many ways that you can play this game, and I like games like that. So yeah, check it out if you get the chance. And that's Anno 1800 by Martin Wallace. And again, it's a video game if you ever get a chance to play that too, because people rave about the video game series, which I don't play video games, so whatever. But yeah, there it is. Hey everybody, I wanted to make an addendum to the video for Anno 1800 because we played it again and it took us a full 2 hours. Now, I think that's going to be the norm for this game. For 2 people, I would never play this with more than 2 people. I just wouldn't do it. This is a 2-player game as far as I'm concerned, and 2 hours is just it's a tad outside our time frame that we like for a board game. Don't get me wrong, this game is absolutely fabulous. It's a wonderful engine building game where you just get this to get that, then you get these 2 things to get those things, and you just keep building and building and building. And that hand of cards that you keep acquiring because you have to, and the end game trigger is to get rid of your cards out of your hand. The first person to get their cards out of their hand triggers the end of the game. And that's going to take a while to do. And the game is absolutely wonderful. I don't want to make any misconceptions or make you think that I don't like this game, because I do. It's just I don't think we will keep it just because of the 120-minute time frame. If that doesn't bother you, if you're younger than us, hey, you know what? If 20 years ago, I'd scoff at that. But it's not 20 years ago, and we like to play things in about an hour. And if this game was about half that long, it would be absolutely fabulous. But You know, when we play an engine builder, we'll go for Furnace or a Splendor or Project L, you know, because they play quickly, and that's the type of thing we're looking for. I just wanted to make sure that you understood how I really felt about this game. And in the video, I said I was probably going to keep it, but we're not. I think we're going to go ahead and trade this on to somebody that doesn't mind playing for 2 hours, because this game is absolutely fantastic by Martin Wallace. And I love Martin Wallace's games, and we still have 2 in our library, Tinner's Trail and Via Nebula, and they're not going anywhere because I can play those in an hour. But Anno, just a little bit too long for us, a lot of setup. There's just some things that make it not perfect for us. And when you have 200 board games in your house, those games got to be perfect, and this one just misses the mark. But hey, if you like that kind of thing, if you have played the Anno video games, you're going to love this, and this is absolutely outstanding game if you don't mind that 2-hour playtime. I just wanted to make sure you were aware of that. And please take a second and like the video on your phone, your computer, or your television set. It helps out so much. We love making these videos for you guys because we're not getting paid for this. There's no monetary reward for what we're doing. We just want to share our board gaming passion with the YouTube community and the board gaming community, and we just want to tell you about good board games. I play a lot of crappy board games, and I played a couple recently, and so I'm not doing a video on that game. If I can't recommend it to you, I'm just not going to do a video on it. We want to build up the board gaming community, and we want to tell people about games that we really like. And if you play some of the games that we tell you about and you say, oh, he's right, I really like that game, then maybe you will be more confident when we make other recommendations to you. But hey, we love telling you about Anno 1800. I love every one of you. Have a great day, and remember to keep on board gaming, because the best hobby on the planet because of engine building games like Anno 1800 and designers like Martin Wallace. So thank you, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye. Hey everybody, welcome to Bones Collector. Laura and I just finished playing Templar. Templar is a 2013 title?
Yes.
2013 title from Jesus Torres Castro. He's done some other games. I looked it up one time, but I can't remember what they were. But it's called Templar: The Secret Treasures. And it's by Queen Games as a publisher. It's 2 to 5 players, or maybe I said that already. It takes about an hour to play.
Iberia.
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah, he did Pandemic Iberia, which is one of my favorite Pandemic versions out there. I mean, it's a great game. Let's talk about the game. It's the usual Queen Games box, and it comes with a cardboard insert in it. The board is nice, lays flat. It's a linen. I think it's a linen finish board. Tiles are, you know, regular thickness for board game tiles. Cardstock is regular cardstock, but this came sleeve. We bought this game for $10 at the last convention we were at. I'm holding it around the other way. I'm having a tough day.
It's been a rough day.
Yeah. We just played this twice and tried to keep our kittens under control. They've got their boxes here, and they slept for the most part through the whole both games. Just this last game, they kind of woke up a little bit, and now they're going to bug us. Yeah, we played this twice, and we played at a convention in 2021, and we were surprised we liked it. Do you remember that?
Yes.
We were surprised we liked this game. I had never heard of it, but it was Queen Games, and it had a cool picture on the front, you know, and I looked on the back, and I thought, what the heck, let's give that game a shot. So we did, and I still have that video on YouTube where I talk about our experience playing this game, and it was very positive. Plays good at 2. I mean, I was surprised. You have some nice wooden pieces, the Abbot, Severus, the blocker, and this little spy guy, and then your player avatars are wood. And then you have this other board over here called the harbor, where shipping the goods come in, and that's where you're going to go to replenish the supply of valuable items that you have, because in this game you're going to travel around this board and you're going to drop off these valuable items in these 13 rooms and try to put your items in as many rooms as possible, because one of the best way to score points is to do that. And depending on how many rooms you have valuable items in, you're going to score on an escalated scale of victory points. So it's imperative that you do that, because wow, she's just on it today. So that's one of the things you can do to score points in this game. But you're simply going to have a hand of cards, and everybody has the same deck of cards. Each card in your hand has a different character on it, and each character does something different in the game. And you see this mechanic, it's a hand management game. This is what you're going to do in this game. When you play that character card, you're going to lay it down in a discard pile. Now the other players who are in the game cannot play that card on their turn. And because of that, in a two-player game, there's a dummy hand, and that dummy hand will have a card. The only involvement that dummy player has in the game is every time it's his turn, you just take a card off his deck and turn it up and put it in his discard pile, and that's one more card that the two players that are in the game can't play on their turn. So that comes into play. I guarantee you, there's just 3 discard piles when you're playing a two-player game, and there was quite a few times I wanted to play a card and it was in one of those 2 discard piles, so it becomes a real pain in the butt. But that's a great mechanic, and managing this hand of cards the most efficient way possible is how you win this game, and I liked it. Again, I remember our experience when we first played it at a convention, and I don't know if you guys go to conventions or not, but when you go there, it's just you grab a game out of the library, sit down, read the rule book yourself, and teach yourself the game as fast as you can, and then play the game and see what you think of it. It's, you know, you don't have time to sit and watch playthroughs or anything like that. You just read the rule book and try and teach yourself the game, and which is what we did with this. And reading the rule book, which we didn't get one with this copy. I was, oh, why I oughta. The guy who sold me this game, it was only $10, and I can print them off. Print the rule book off of Board Game Geek, right?
Yeah.
I can print the rule book off of Board Game Geek, which we're going to do, but I was upset that there wasn't a rule book in this game. So you're going to be using this hand of cards to do everything in this game, because each character does a different thing. Like, it'll tell you how many spaces your avatar can move, how many valuable items you can drop off once you reach your destination. You don't have to move that many spaces, but you can move up to that many spaces. And the cards are 1, 2, and 3 movement. And then they drop off 1, 2, or 3 items. So you've got those going on. That's all right. And then you got things like this Maria character. If you want to go over here to the harbor, because you're going to start out the game with some valuable items in your hand. And after you drop those off, you're going to run low in your supply, so you have to go to the harbor, move your avatar over to the harbor, and you can pick up any one of these storage units and take all those tiles and into your area, and then you take one of those items out of the supply, put them into your usable valuable items, and then put those to the side of the board. And you have so many of them in this bag. Once the bag runs out of these tiles, and you can't replenish any more in the harbor, then it triggers the end of the game. Or somebody gets a valuable item in all 13 rooms, that also triggers the end of the game. And then everybody gets one more turn. And then you're going to just, we did pretty good this time. I scored 55 points and Lori scored 45, and that was the best we've done in the 3 times we played it. But the first couple of times we tried dropping off like as many valuable items in each room as we could, and that didn't serve us very well. And then after we realized, you know what, that's a lot of points to get valuable items in a high number of rooms. So that's what we did this time, and we scored better in this game. I was surprised at how good this game was the first time I played it, and then when I thought about it after a few years, I mean, this is 2023, I bought in the VFM for $10, and we went ahead and picked it up. And I said, remember we played that? I really, really liked that game. Because it's that right level of complexity for us. There's quite a bit going on. Like, I mean, when you're dropping off valuable items in these rooms, if you have these big tables on here, and if somebody drops off a hexagon-shaped signet ring, then only hexagon-shaped signet rings can go on that particular table. So there's that restriction going on in that regard. And then also you have 2 people that you can move around to kind of mess up how the other players are scoring out here. This is the abbot, and you have to move him into the space that you want scored. So if another player wants to block you from getting that abbot in there, there's a door, and there's a card in here. Porticus tells you can move the door to any space on the board, and you get a point for doing so. That door, it comes in very handy if you want to slow another player down just for one turn. So it's very, very cool. And then also you have this guy Severus, which is kind of cool. Reminds me of Severus Snape, and he's kind of a dark figure in Harry Potter. But Severus, you can move him into a place where a person's got a lot of their valuable items, and you know they want to score that. If you put Severus in there, they can't score that until they remove him with their card. Well, of course, you've just played Severus card. Okay, you've just played Severus, and now it's their turn. They can't play Severus and move him because you can't play the same card that's on somebody's discard pile. So it's very, very cool. We've really enjoyed this game. It's just that right amount of complexity where you can pull this game out, set it up, and do some pretty nice intellectual gymnastics, just enough to have a good time. I really enjoy this game. It's a nice fit for our library because of the time frame. I think now we probably play this in 45 minutes, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd probably knock this out in 45 minutes. And I really, really like the looks of it on the table. It's a nice game. Art on the cards is very nice. And I love hand management games. Of course, you have Concordia has a nice hand management game, and Isle of Cats, where you're really managing a hand of cards. Yeah, so those kinds of games, I really enjoy that. And it works well in this game. This guy did a nice job designing this game. And an added plus is you can get this dirt cheap. And yeah, we got this copy for $10. I'm going to print that rule book off of Board Game Geek. And we have us a nice game that'll last us a long, long time because it is something we like to play. Once you use Maria, which is your character card that takes you to the harbor, then you have to leave the harbor and come in from one of these portals. You got two they can have portals.
Porticos.
Porticos? Are they? Okay, porticos. You have two of them on the board where you can enter the abbey. So there's just some cool rules to this game, just enough to make it a good time.
It needs to be played a lot more because every time we play it, we figure out, oh, hey.
Yeah.
Like at the end of that last game, I figured out I could have stopped you. I had Benjamin, and I could have taken one of your rings out of one of those rooms where you just had one item, and that would have dropped your score by being one room short.
Yeah, you could...
He's the only really mean one.
There's a card in here. What, Benjamin?
Benjamin. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and it doesn't have to mean you can use it.
Oh, and in the last round, you can only move your own ring, so I couldn't have picked yours up.
Okay. But there is a card in here, a character called Benjamin, and as you move through a room, you can pick up an item and move it to another room, so that's pretty cool. Stephanus is a cool card because you can move your avatar 2 spaces, and if there's some characters in the, like if you see 2 guys in one room, and you can get there, and you move this in here, there's going to be a point for each person that's in that room. That would be 3 points with Stephanus if you used him. That's a cool character. And then other ones, you know, like I say, like Joshua moves 2 spaces, drops off 2 items, whether it's a book, a chalice, or a ring, and they all score different point totals. So that's pretty cool. Very cool game. Yeah, I enjoy it very much. I want to tell you guys about it. It's into my Queen Games section in my board game shelf, along with Lancaster and...
It'd be a really good time with a lot of people. Sorry, I interrupted you.
It would be interesting with more people.
I think so.
It plays well at two.
It does.
Excuse me. Because of that deck, it disables one more card that you're allowed to play, and that makes the game interesting enough for 2 players.
But it plays 5 people, so you could technically have 4 different cards out there that you can't play. I mean, that would be different.
I don't know if I would play this with 5. That would be really strange.
It'd take a long time too, I would think.
Yeah. But 3 or 4 might be pretty interesting with all those people dropping off. And then I think with 3 and 4 players too, it would change how you use the abbot in scoring. Because you would be like, well, wait a minute. I mean, there's 3 different players in there with valuable items. Do I want to score that room? You know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how whether you'd want to get a majority before you went in there and scored with Regimentus or whatever his name is, Remigius, the abbot. So it would certainly change the game a little bit, but that plays well at 2, so I would recommend it to anybody that plays from 2 to 4 players. I don't know about 5. It would be a long game with 5 players, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I'm going to keep it in my library because, like I say, it fits our play style. So yeah, that's it for today. That's the Bones Collector, and Biscuits and Gravy were very good kittens. They slept through 1.5 games of Templar, the Secret Treasures, and now they're starting to wake up, so I'm going to put this away. And I love every one of you guys. please take a second right now and give us a thumbs up on the video. It helps out so much more than I can possibly explain. And leave a comment if you've played this game and tell me what you think about it, if you've kept it in your library. And we'll see you the next time on The Bonus Collector. I love every one of you. Have a great day. Keep on board gaming. It's the best hobby on the planet because of inexpensive games like Templar and good board game designers like Jesus Torres Castro. Nice job, Jesus.